Sirach, also named the Book of Ecclesiasticus, from the King James 1611, continuing with Chapter 6. Summary. Do not extol thy own conceit, but make choice of a friend. Seek wisdom betimes, it is grievous to some, yet the fruits thereof are pleasant. Be ready to hear wise men. Chapter 6. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame, and reproach. Even so shall a sinner that hath a double tongue. Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull straying alone. Thou shalt eat up thy leaves, and loose thy fruit, and leave thyself as a dry tree. A wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it, and shall make him to be laughed to scorn of his enemies. A sweet throat, sweet language, will multiply friends, and a fair-speaking tongue will increase kind greetings. Be in peace with many, nevertheless have but one counselor of 1,000. And if thou wouldst get a friend, get him in the time of trouble. Prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble. And there is a friend, who being turned to enmity and strife, will discover thy reproach. Again, some friend is a companion at the table, and will not continue in the day of thy affliction. But in thy prosperity he will be as thyself, and will be bold over thy servants. If thou be brought low, he will be against thee, and will hide himself from thy face. Separate thyself from thine enemies, and take heed of thy friends. A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such a one hath found a treasure. Nothing doth countervail a faithful friend, and his excellency is unvaluable. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright, for as he is, so shall his neighbor be also. My son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age. Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits, for thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon. She is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without heart, without understanding, will not remain with her. She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and he will cast her from him ere it be long. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel, and put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her collar, her chain. Bow down thy shoulder, and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and that shall be turned to thy joy. Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. For there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple, a ribbon of blue silk. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught, and if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Stand in the multitude of the elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart, and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. Chapter 7. Summary. We are exhorted from sin, from ambition, presumption, and fainting in prayer, from lying and backbiting, and how to esteem a friend, a good wife, a servant, our cattle, our children and parents, the Lord and his priest, the poor and those that mourn. Chapter 7. Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee. Depart from the unjust, and iniquity shall turn away from thee. My son, sow not upon the furrows of unrighteousness, and thou shalt not reap them sevenfold. Seek not of the Lord preeminence, neither of the king the seat of honor. Justify not thyself before the Lord, and boast not of thy wisdom before the king. Seek not to be judge, being not able to take away iniquity, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty, and lay a stumbling block in the way of thy uprightness. Offend not against the multitude of a city, and then thou shalt not cast thyself down among thy people. Bind not one sin upon another, for in one thou shalt not be unpunished. Say not, God will look upon the multitude of my oblations, and when I offer to the Most High God, he will accept it. Be not faint-hearted when thou makest thy prayer, and neglect not to give thine alms. Laugh no man to scorn in the bitterness of his soul, for there is one which humbleth and exalteth. Plough not, devise not a lie against thy brother, neither do the like to thy friend. Use not to make any manner of lie, for the custom thereof is not good. Use not many words, in a multitude of elders. And make not vain repetition, much babbling, when thou prayest. Hate not laborious work, neither husbandry, which the Most High hath created and ordained. Number not thyself among the multitude of sinners, but remember the wrath will not tarry long. Humble thy soul greatly, for the vengeance of the ungodly is fire and worms. Change not a friend for any good, by no means, neither a faithful brother for the gold of Ophir. Forgo not a wise and good woman, for her grace is above gold. Whereas thy servant worketh truly, entreat him not evil, nor the hireling that bestoweth himself wholly for thee. Let thy soul love a good servant, and defraud him not of liberty. Hast thou cattle? Have an eye to them, and if they be for profit, keep them with thee. Hast thou children? Instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. Hast thou daughters? Have care of their body, and shew not thyself cheerful towards them. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. Hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a hateful, light woman. Honour thy father with thy whole heart, and forget not the sorrows of thy mother. Remember that thou wast begot of them, and how canst thou recompense them the things they have done for thee? Fear the Lord with all thy soul, and reverence his priest. Love him that made thee with all thy strength, and forsake not his ministers. Fear the Lord, and honour the priest, and give him his portion, as it is commanded of thee. The firstfruits, the trespass offering, and gift of the shoulders, and the sacrifice of sanctification, and the firstfruits of the holy things, and stretch thine hand unto the poor, that of thy liberty blessing may be perfected. A gift hath grace in the sight of every man living, and for the dead detain it not. Fail not to be with them that weep, and mourn with them that mourn. Be not slow to visit the sick, for that shall make thee to be beloved. Whatsoever thou takest in hand, remember the end, and thou shalt never do amiss. Chapter 8. Summary. Whom we may not strive with, nor despise, nor provoke, nor have to do with. Chapter 8. Strive not with a mighty man, lest thou shalt fall into his hands. Be not at variance with a rich man, lest he overweigh thee, for gold hath destroyed many, and perverted the hearts of kings. Strive not with a man that is full of an evil tongue, and heap not wood upon his fire. Jest not with a rude man, lest thy ancestors be disgraced. Reproach not a man that turneth from sin, but remember that we are all worthy of punishment. Dishonour not a man in his old age, for even some of us wax old. Rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we die all. Despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs. For of them thou shalt learn instruction, and how to serve great men with ease. Miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learned of their fathers, and of them thou shalt learn understanding, and to give answer as need requireth. Kindle not the coals of a sinner, lest thou be burnt with the flame of his fire. Rise not up in anger at the presence of an injurious person, lest he lie in wait for thy mouth to entrap thee in thy words. Lend not unto him that is mightier than thyself, for if thou lendest him, count it but lost. Be not surety above thy power, for if thou be surety, take care to pay it. Go not to law with a judge, for they will judge him according to his opinion, his honour. Travail not by the way with a bold fellow, lest he become grievous unto thee, for he will do according to his own will, and thou shalt perish with him through his folly. Strive not with an angry man, and go not with him into a solitary place, for blood is as nothing in his sight, and where there is no help, he will overthrow thee. Consult not with the fool, for he cannot keep counsel. Do no secret thing before a stranger, for thou knowest not what he will bring forth. Open not thine heart to every man, lest he requite thee with a shrewd turn. Chapter 9. Summary. We are advised how to use our wives, what women to avoid, and not to change an old friend, not to be familiar with men in authority, but to know our neighbours, and to converse with wise men. Chapter 9. Be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself. Give not thy soul unto a woman, to set her foot upon thy substance. Meet not with an harlot, lest thou fall into her snares. Use not much the company of a woman that is a singer and playeth upon instruments, lest thou be taken with her attempts. Gaze not on a maid, that thou fall not by those things that are prettiest in her. Give not thy soul unto harlots, that thou lose not thine inheritance. Look not round about thee in the streets of the city, neither wander thou in the solitary places thereof. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for herewith love is kindled as a fire. Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so thorough thy desire thou fall into destruction. Forsake not an old friend, for the new is not comparable to him. A new friend is as new wine. When it is old, thou shalt drink it with pleasure. Envy not the glory of a sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end. Delight not in a thing that the ungodly have pleasure in. But remember, they shall not go unpunished unto their grave. Keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill. So shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of a city. As near as thou canst, gaze at thy neighbour, and consult with the wise. Let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High. And let just men eat and drink with thee, and let thy glorying be in the fear of the Lord. For the hand of the artificer, the work shall be commended, and the wise ruler of the people for his speech. A man of an ill tongue is dangerous in his city, and he that is rash in his talk shall be hated. Chapter 10. The commodities of a wise ruler, God setteth them up. The inconveniencies of pride, injustice, and covetousness, what God hath done to the proud, who shall be honoured, and who not? Chapter 10. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them that are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. In the hand of God is the prosperity of man, and upon the person of the scribe shall he lay his honour. Bear not hatred to thy neighbour for every wrong, and do nothing at all by injurious practices. Pride is hateful before God and man, and by both doth one commit iniquity. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such an one setteth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth he casteth away his bowels. The Philistine cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king, tomorrow will die. For when a man is dead, he shall inherit creeping things, beasts, and worms. The beginning of pride is when one departeth from God, and his heart is turned away from his Maker. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities, and overthrew them utterly. The Lord hath cast down the thrones of proud princes, and set up the meek in their stead. The Lord hath plucked up the roots of proud nations, and planted the lowly in their place. The Lord overthrew countries of heathen, and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. He took some of them away, and destroyed them, and hath made their memorial to cease from the earth. Pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed, and they that love him an honourable plant. They that regard not the law are a dishonourable seed. They that transgress the commandments are an unstable generation, a deceivable seed. Among brethren, he that is chief is honourable. So are they that fear the Lord in his eyes. The fear of the Lord goeth before principality, the obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof. Whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is in the fear of the Lord. It is not meet to despise the poor man that hath understanding, neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man. Great men and judges and potentates shall be honoured, yet is there none of them greater than he that feareth the Lord. Unto the servant that is wise shall they that are free do service, and he that hath knowledge will not grudge when he is reformed. Be not over wise in doing thy business, and boast not thyself in the time of thy distress. Better is he that laboureth and aboundeth in all things, than he that boasteth himself and wanteth bread. My son, glorify thy soul in meekness, and give it honour according to dignity thereof. Who will justify him that sinneth against his own soul? And who will honour him that dishonoureth his own life? The poor man is honoured for his skill, and the rich man is honoured for his riches. He that is honoured in poverty, how much more in riches? And he that is dishonourable in riches, how much more in poverty? Chapter 11. Summary. We may not vaunt or set forth ourselves, nor answer rashly, nor meddle with many matters. Wealth and all things else are from God. Brag not of thy wealth, nor bring every man into thy house. Chapter 11. Wisdom lifteth up the head of the lowly, and maketh them to sit among great men. Commend not a man for his beauty, neither abhor a man for his outward appearance. The bee is little among such as a fly, but her fruit is the chief of sweet things. Boast not of thy clothing and raiment, and exalt not thyself in the day of honour. For the works of the Lord are wonderful, and his works among men are hidden. Many tyrants, kings have sit down upon the ground, and one that was never thought of hath worn the crown. Many mighty men have been greatly disgraced, and the honourable delivered into other men's hands. Blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand thou first, and then rebuke. Answer not before thou hast heard the cause, neither interrupt men in the midst of their talk. Strive not in a manner that concerneth thee not, and sit not in the judgment of sinners. My son, meddle not with many matters, for if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent. And if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape hurt. There is one that laboureth and taketh pains, and maketh haste, and is so much the more behind. Again, there is another that is slow, and hath need of help, wanting ability, and full of poverty. Yet the eye of the Lord looked upon him for good, and set him up for his low estate, and lifted up his head from misery, so that many that saw it marvelled at him. prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of the work of the Lord. Love and the way of good works are from him. Error and darkness had their beginning together with sinners, and the evil shall wax old with them that glory therein. The gift of the Lord remaineth with the godly, and his favour bringeth prosperity for ever. There is that waxeth rich by his weariness and pension, and this is the portion of his reward. Whereas he saith, I have found rest, and now will eat continually of my goods, and yet he knoweth not what time shall come, nor to pass upon him, and that he must leave these things to others and die. Be steadfast in thy covenant, and be conversant therein, and wax old in thy work. Marvel not at the works of sinners, but trust in the Lord, and abide in thy labour. For it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord, on the sudden, to make a poor man rich. The blessing of the Lord is for a reward of the godly, and suddenly he maketh his blessing to flourish. Say not, what profit is there of my service, and what good things shall I have thereafter? Again, say not, I have enough, and possess many things, and what evil can come to me hereafter? In the day of prosperity there is a forgetfulness of affliction, and in the day of affliction there is no remembrance of prosperity. For it is an easy thing unto the Lord in the day of death to reward the man according to his ways. The affliction of an hour maketh a man forget pleasure, and in his end his deeds shall be discovered. Judge none blessed before his death, for a man shall be known in his children. Bring not every man into thine house, for the deceitful man hath many trains. Like as a patriarch taken and kept in a cage, so is the heart of the proud, and like as a spy watcheth he for thy fall. For he lieth in wait, and turneth good into evil, and in things worthy praise will lay blame upon thee. Of a spark of a fire a heap of coals is kindled, and a sinful man layeth wait for blood. Take heed of a mischievous man, for he worketh wickedness, lest he bring upon thee a perpetual blot. Receive a stranger into thine house, and he will disturb thee, and turn thee out of thine own. Chapter 12. Summary. Be not liberal to the ungodly. Trust not thine enemy, nor the wicked. Chapter 12. When thou wilt do good, know to who thou doest it, so shalt thou be thanked for thy benefits. Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense, and if not from him, yet from the Most High. There can be no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, nor to him that giveth no alms. Give to the godly man, and help not a sinner. Do well unto him that is lowly, but give not to the ungodly. Hold back thy bread, and give it not unto him, lest he overmaster thee thereby. For else thou shalt receive twice as much evil, for all good thou shalt have done unto him. For the Most High hateth sinners, and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly, and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. Give unto the good, and help not the sinner. A friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. In the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart. Never trust thine enemy, for like as brass iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he is humble himself, and go crouching, yet take good heed, and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking-glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh unto a wild beast? So one that goeth to a sinner, and is mingled, defiled with him in his sins, who will he pity? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he supplant and undermine thee. He will shake his head, and clap his hands, and whisper much, and change his countenance. Chapter 13. Keep not company with the proud, or a mightier than thyself. Like were to like, the difference between the rich and the poor. A man's heart will change his countenance. Chapter 13. He that toucheth pitch shall be defiled therewith, and he that hath fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him. Burthen not thyself above thy power, while thou livest, and have no fellowship with the one that is mightier and richer than thyself. For how agree the kettle and the earthen pot together? This shall smite against it, and be broken against the other. The rich man hath done wrong, and yet he threateneth withal. The poor is wronged, and he must entreat also. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee, and smile upon thee, and put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair, and say, What wantest thou? And he will shame thee by his meats, until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice. And at the last he will laugh thee to scorn. Afterward, when he seeth thee, he will forsake thee, and shake his head at thee. Beware that thou be not deceived, and brought down by simplicity in thy jollity. If thou be invited of a mighty man, withdraw thyself, and so much the more will he invite thee. Press thou not upon him, lest thou be put aback. Stand not far off, lest thou be forgotten. Forbear not, affect not, to be made equal unto him in talk, but believe not his many words, for with much communication will he tempt thee, and smiling upon thee will he get out thy secrets. But cruelly he will lay up thy words, and will not spare to do thee hurt, and to put thee in prison. Observe, and take good heed, for thou walkest in peril of thy overthrowing. When thou hearest these things, awake in thy sleep. Love the Lord all thy life, and call upon him for thy salvation. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbour. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly. What agreement is there between the hyena and a dog? And what peace between the rich and the poor? As the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor. As the proud hate humility, so doth the rich abhor the poor. A rich man, beginning to fall, is held up of his friends, but a poor man, being down, is thrust also away by his friends. When a rich man is fallen, he hath many helpers. He speaketh things not to be spoken, and yet men justify him. The poor man slipped, and yet they rebuked him too. He spake wisely, and could have no place. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look, what he saith, they extol it to the clouds. But if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. Riches are good unto him that hath no sin, and poverty is evil in the mouth of the ungodly. The heart of a man changeth his countenance, whether it be for good or evil. And a merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance. A cheerful countenance is a token of a heart that is in prosperity, and the finding out the parables is a wearisome labour of the mind. Chapter 14. Summary. A good conscience maketh men happy. The miser doth good to none, but do thou good. Men are happy that draw near to wisdom. Chapter 14. Blessed is the man that hath not slipped with his mouth, and is not pricked with the multitude of sins, with the sorrows. Blessed is he whose conscience hath not condemned him, and who is not fallen from his hope in the Lord. Riches are not comely for a miser. And what should an envious man do with money? He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others. That shall spend his goods righteously. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. There is none worse than he that envieth himself, and this is a recompense of his wickedness. And if he doth good, he doth it unwillingly, and the last he will declare his wickedness. The envious man hath a wicked eye, he turneth away his face, and despiseth men. A covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion, and the iniquity of the wicked drieth up his soul. A wicked eye envieth his bread, and he is a miser at his table. My son, according to thy ability, do good to thyself, and give the Lord his due offering. Remember that death will not be long in coming, and that the covenant of the grave is not shewed unto thee. Do good unto thy friend before thou die, and according to thy ability stretch out thy hand and give to him. Defraud not thyself of the feast day, and let not the part of a good desire overpass thee. Shalt thou not leave thy travails unto another, and thy labours to be divided by lot? Give and take and sanctify thy soul, for there is no seeking of dainties in the grave. All flesh waxeth old as a garment, for the covenant from the beginning is, thou shalt die the death. As of the green leaves on a thick tree, some fall and some grow, so is the generation of flesh and blood. One cometh to an end, and another is born. Every work rotteth and consumeth away, and the worker thereof shall go withal. Blessed is the man that doth meditate good things in wisdom, and that reasoneth of holy things by his understanding. He that considereth her ways in his heart shall also have understanding in her secrets. Go after her as one that traceth, and lie in wait in her ways. He that prayeth in at her windows shall also hearken at her doors. He that doth lodge near her house shall also fasten a stake in her walls. He shall pitch his tent nigh unto her, and lodge in a lodging where good things are. He shall set his children under her shelter, and shall lodge under her branches. By her he shall be covered from hate, and in her glory shall he dwell. Chapter 15. Summary. Wisdom embraceth those that fear God. The wicked shall not get her. We may not charge God with our faults, for he made and left us to ourselves. Chapter 15. He that feareth the Lord will do good, and he that hath knowledge of the law shall obtain her. And as a mother shall she mate him, and receive him as a wife married of a virgin. With the bread of understanding shall she feed him, and give him the water of wisdom to drink. He shall be stayed upon her, and shall not be moved, and shall rely upon her, and shall not be confounded. She shall exalt him above his neighbours, and in the midst of the congregation shall she open his mouth. He shall find joy and a crown of gladness, and she shall cause him to inherit an everlasting name. But the foolish men shall not attain unto her, and the sinners shall not see her, for she is far from pride, and men that are liars cannot remember her. A parable, praise, is not seemly in the mouth of a sinner, for he was not sent of the Lord. For rather a parable of praise shall be uttered in wisdom, and the Lord will prosper it. Say not thou, it is through the Lord that I fell away, for thou oughtest not to do the things that he hateth. Say not thou, he has caused me to err, for he hath no need of the sinful man. The Lord hateth all abomination, and they that fear the Lord God love it not. He himself made man from the beginning, and left him in the hand of his counsel. And if thou wilt, to keep the commandments, and to perform acceptable faithfulness, he hath set fire and water before thee. Stretch forth thy hand unto whether thou wilt. Before man is life and death, and whether he liketh shall be given him. For the wisdom of the Lord is great, and he is mighty in power, and beholdeth all things. And his eyes are upon them that fear him, and he knoweth every work of man. He hath commanded no man to do wickedly, neither hath he given any man license to sin. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. We will continue next time with chapter 16.